Hello, hello. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to At the Table with Pure. And we are your hosts, Stephanie Houghton and Erica Thomas. And we are so honored and privileged to be with you all today because we have some very, very special guests near and dear to our hearts. And they're going to be talking with us today about their story of friendship and how their friendship has now led them to the point of seeking business partnership and business relationship with each other. And so we're just so excited to have these ladies with us today. And so we're going to introduce them and have them share their own unique stories because just like Erica and I, if you watched part 1 of episode 1, we had totally different ways in which we thought we met. These ladies have similar stories, and we just cannot wait for you to hear more from these ladies. So we have with us Latarsha Haughton and Shalon Barnett. Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies.
Welcome to At the Table with Pure. We get raw, we get transparent, we say what comes to our minds and what's on our hearts, and we just allow the Holy Spirit to flow on this show. And so, whichever one of you wants to start off, you feel free, Latarsha or Shalon. Let's just hear from you how you all became friends and how God has placed it on your heart now to enter into business partnership.
So I'll share first. How I think that I met Latarsha was I was doing a Facebook Live and a mutual friend of ours saw the live and she DM'd me and she said, I think there's this lady I think that you should meet. And I think that's how we connected that way. But her story is different. So that's what I believe.
That's what you believe. Okay, Latarsha,
yes.
that's how you think. Okay, so Latarsha, what do you think?
I feel like it was a divine connection, and it's so unique because I had a social media strategist that would do all of my posting, and I had just moved to Florida in 2019. She had been following Shalon. She said, "Hey, Latarsha, I see this woman that does the same exact thing that you do, Shalon's Hope." She said, "You need to connect with her." And I said, "Okay, I'll, check her out," and started following her. I was, seeing different things she did. Then I met another young lady at a networking event. And she said, "I know a young lady named Shalon." She said, "We go to the same hairdresser." She said, "You guys have to meet." She said, "You guys have a passion and y'all do the same thing for people." I said, "Really?" So she said, "Yeah." So, well, I want to meet her. And so when she told me who she was and I went back to Shalon's Hope, I said, "This is the same young lady that my social media strategist was just telling me that I needed to connect with." So one day I was watching a Facebook Live and she was talking about forgiveness. And she was so transparent. I was like, I've got to meet her. I've got to meet her. So I reached out to her and asked her if we could connect. And we ended up talking on the phone that day. I said, "Oh my goodness." I said, "This is a divine connection." And then we met for lunch and I loved everything that she had to do. And from that lunch date, she said, "Would you like to speak at my conference?" And then I spoke at that conference. And from there, we will always talk here and there, meet here and there.
You came to the house to meet the ladies.
Yes, I came to the house to meet her ladies. And then I started doing life coaching with them every week since then.
So let me go back. I wasn't looking for a friend. I would make that very clear. I told her I didn't think that after a certain age that we could really be friends. I just thought, so that was not what I was looking for. So I threw that out there.
And she did say that to me, right? And so I was like, okay, whatever. But in my heart, after I started going to the house, I went to her and I said, "Shalon," I said, "have you ever been interested in open more homes?" I said, "I don't know, for some reason, I feel like God is calling us to be partners." And then you, Stephanie, said God put something on your heart, and Erica. And when you said that, that was my confirmation.
So tell us, and Shalon, I'll have you tell us a little bit more about Shalon's Hope and what you do with your program. And then Latarsha, I'll have you tell us about Breaking the Silence, Healing the Pain, which is your program. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the partnership that God is placing on your heart and the work that He would have you all do together, because your work is so similar individually. And now we want to see how that powerful connection of you two coming together. Because again, 2022 is the year of the double portion. It's the year of two being more powerful than one, right? And so seeing the two of you who are already powerhouses individually coming together as one, this is truly a divine connection. So, Shalon, tell us a little bit more about Shalon's Hope and the work that you do with that program.
So Shalon's Hope, of course, is a nonprofit organization. I started about in 2016. And really, it was just, I wanted to do transitional housing for women who just kind of fell on tough times and needed a helping hand up. It has eventually transferred over to recovering addicts, but call it the hope journey, because I break hope down as heal, overcome, purpose, and empowerment. And so I think that's how Latarsha and I kind of connected, because we were both talking about the healing process, which I didn't even know anything about that until I actually met her. So that is pretty much where the home is kind of at right now. And I have one home currently.
Awesome. And so, Latarsha, tell us a little bit about what you do with Breaking the Silence, Healing the Pain.
So, Breaking the Silence, Healing the Pain is a nonprofit organization where we bring awareness to sexual abuse, domestic violence, and emotional abuse. And it's basically on healing. I use the same steps that I had to heal to help other people. And at first, I was looking at it like, oh, sexual abuse, domestic violence, and all of these things. But then God led me to trauma, just any type of trauma, like divorce, a breakup, losing a child. It's all trauma. And it's about, how do you heal? How do you come back from that type of hurt? And so that's what God, I feel like, is leading me to help people to heal.
I just
Excellent.
think that's amazing in terms of how you guys were on your individual paths,
Yeah.
and through these divine experiences, you guys were like, okay, maybe I need to connect with this person. And I think it's important to know, especially by you two being business women. I mean, you already have your programs. A lot of times we have our own individual businesses and our visions, and to see the need to say, okay, I need to connect with this person. Even though we're doing some similar things, it wasn't from a perspective of, oh, well, she's doing this and I'm doing this, and let me see how I could do it better than her. It was like, no, this is God's work. It's not just for us. This is what God has placed on my heart. And now I see somebody else who is doing something similar. Let's see how we can connect. That's amazing.
The funny thing with all of it was, though, with sometimes Natasha looks at me in a way that it's like she sees something that I clearly don't see. And I can watch her looking at me and it's like, what does this lady see? But it pushes me to want to do more and be more, because just the way that it's like I have to do, because it's something there, but even though I can't see it, she sees it. And so I think that's what's so like unique about our relationship, is that she does pull out a lot that was there, but I didn't know it was there. I didn't know it was safe to even talk about. I didn't know if it was safe to even feel that way. And she made me feel so comfortable and so safe to share how I felt. And so it pushes me to even expand the part of the business that I do have, because I'm comfortable in my own skin now. So that was what she brought out of me. And I was not used to people doing that at all. I was used to people just going along with whatever Shalon said, because Shalon was paying the way. And so she just brought a different take. And so it was like, I have to be friends with her, because I never had anyone challenge me and push me like she does.
And I love what you said before. Well, Latarsha was saying it, but I've heard you with this saying before, that you just don't believe that women could be friends after 40, right?
It was possible.
And look, we don't know about that because none of us here is over 40. We have no idea, right? But it is so true how, as we age, as we get older, we think that when someone is coming into our lives, it's like, what is the purpose? Especially after 40, you're questioning, what is the purpose that this person would have in my life? And for you all to come together, and for you, Shalon, to say, Latarsha sees something in me that I didn't even see in myself. She brings out something in me that I didn't even know was there. And for Latarsha to be able to see you, Shalon, and say, there's so much gold in this woman. There's so much more that she can be doing. There's so much more that Shalon's hope can be doing, right? To bring even more hope to women in the local area. So how do we expand upon that? That's amazing. And I think that's similar to Erica and I in that we bring out different things in each other. And that's what business partners are designed to do, is to bring out where I'm not strong, she's strong. Where she's still growing in an area, I might have already developed in that area. And so the two of you have that same connection in that you're able to bring something to each other that the other may not have had, or it just needed to be expanded upon. So now tell us a little bit about how God has brought you to the place of saying, I think it's time we might need to join forces here. I think it's time we bring this thing together and do something as Shalon and Latarsha versus Shalon Barnett, Latarsha Haughton. Tell us about that.
I'll let Latarsha kind of, because she kind of brought it to me, but I'm so honored that she trusted me with even what she had. Because I was like, I don't know if I can carry this, but so I'll let her explain because she did bring it to me first.
So, like I said, the first time I met her and her passion, the way that she talked about these women, the way that she talked about how she just wanted to help them, and it was a part of her past. And she said, I don't know. It just kind of fell in my lap. She said, this is not even what I started. I just don't even know anything about it, but God just put it right in my lap. And so I'm looking at her and I'm like, wow, she reminds me of like Abraham, when God was telling Abraham to pack up your things and leave and go. Right. And so when I look at her, I'm like, she didn't know what she was doing. She had no idea, but she took the challenge and say, okay, God, you can use me. And so I was just so inspired by her, and just, I don't think that she saw the bigger picture of what she was really doing, giving these women hope. And when I met these women, the way they look up to her, the way that they loved her, I was like, she got to be kidding me. She doesn't see the big picture of what God is really doing here. Like, oh my goodness, and I just feel like every time I would talk to her and just tell her some of my challenges or my fears about like doing a conference here, she said, why not? Just do it. You got to just trust God. You got to just step out in fear. And I'm looking at her like, okay, well, who's going to pay for all this? Right. And she's like, okay, well, got to provide a way. I mean, you just got to pray about it, and you can't allow fear. And so it was just the connection. And I just felt like it was so divine from God. It just, my whole move to Florida, just by coincidence, I'm at a networking event. I meet this woman, and then I meet the social media strategist, and it was so divine by God. And then for you to come in, because I feel like Shalon wasn't budging. I feel like she had a wall up. And I think she was looking at it like, what do this girl want from me? I needed nothing from her at all. I didn't need friendships. I didn't need anything financially from her. I did not need anything. I just felt like it was the divine connection. So I didn't know how that wall was going to get knocked down, because I would mention it to her, and then Shalon can try to, if she doesn't want to talk about something, she's going to change the conversation. She'll go to something else. And that's what she does. She deflects. And so I was laughing, because I was like, every time I bring it up to her, she'll say, I said, so amen, God. I said, whatever your will is, it'll be okay. And then Stephanie and Erica comes in, and then she connects you and I together. And I just feel like she likes to connect other people, but she's afraid to allow them to connect with her.
Oh, tell us about that, Shalon. She put you on Front Street with that. So I think we need
Yeah, I
to
did have a
explore
wall
that.
up. I did have a wall up. Like I said before I met her, I didn't know. I couldn't have told you it was a wall. I didn't know what it was. It's just a guards. And so she just started making me feel comfortable with talking about stuff and being okay with how I felt. I always knew about therapy, but I didn't really go to therapy because, we don't really do therapy, right? And so when she talked about it, how long she went, I was like, okay, well, if she did it, like, okay, well, maybe I could try it. And so I was just able to open up. And then I always trusted you, Stephanie. So it's like, when that happened, it's like, okay, I could do it. But now I'm very excited about doing everything. I don't have the wall up so much. And the reason why is because she would not leave me alone. Like, she constantly was calling me. And she was like, Shalon, what do you need? And it's like she forced me to say what I needed when I wasn't able to say what I needed because I was not used to asking people to help me. And if I did, they never followed through. So it was like, why even bother? I just depend on myself. But she just kind of pushed, I'm here. What do you need? I'm here. And it wasn't that she just was saying it. She was showing it. She was there. She is consistently going over there on her day. She's there. No matter what, she's there. And so I had to knock it down. Like, this is a person that doesn't need anything from me. She genuinely wants to be with me for me. She can see what I couldn't see in me. So how can I deny that? So it's like she's there.
Man, that is so like there's so many nuggets in there. There's so many nuggets in there. And it's so sweet because that is God's love. That's how he loves us. He when he calls us to do something, like Stephanie and I both had our own individual businesses and we were going at it as we were going at it and following God. We had no clue what he was going to birth through us. So it's like when we connected, and then when Stephanie even told me about Shalon and she met Latarsha and she's like, listen, we got to talk to these women. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, I don't know what we doing. So, okay. But it's just so strategic of God. And you said something that's so important, Shalon, in terms of how we are in our own individual selves. And we may have these guards up, we don't even realize it. And it's based on previous experiences and how we either were let down, disappointed, because there's a lot of women that are going to listen to this and are going to be able to relate to not trusting other women based on their own personal experiences. And it's not that that those experiences aren't valid, but you allowed someone to come into your life because one, even the introduction of therapy, because as believers, we it's like, we not going to therapy. But those people have been gifted by God to help us to see what we can't see in order to have to navigate through those emotional things in order to be all that God created us to be. Even the Bible, when it talks about reflections, and I believe people can be reflections of each other. Like Stephanie and I see stuff in each other, and I'm like, Stephanie, you're this, you're this. And she's like, what are you talking about? And then she sees stuff in me, but it causes us to say, okay, let me try this. It's like pushing you beyond what you could possibly do in and of yourself or by yourself. We have this boxed in mentality. It's like, oh, it's just me and God. It's just me and God. You know what I'm saying? And God is like, I created you for a community. God is in community. It's him, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
So why wouldn't he want us to be in community? So thank you for sharing that. That's such a good nugget.
Yes, yes. And I think, one of the things too, going back to what both of you all talked about as far as fear will keep you from doing so many of the things that God is calling you to do. Shalon was in fear of, what does this woman want from me? Right. And then Latarsha in some ways had a fear of, wow, if Shalon doesn't get this breakthrough, then we might not be able to come together to do what we're supposed to do. Right. And now both of you had to get to that place of saying, okay, fear has to leave. Fear has to go out the door. Erica and I had to do that, especially when we talked about that whole thing of partnership being like marriage. Ugh. I was like, okay, I'm definitely afraid to go into something that could potentially not work. Right. And even if both of us are putting our best foot forward, or the other person, one person is not, and the other person is, and it doesn't work, then what's going to happen? But we have to say, we want to remove all fear and put our faith in God, that if he's called us to do this, then he's going to equip us to do it. And we don't have to operate in a place of fear because he has us, right? And so when Shalon, you finally got to that place of saying, I'm going to break down this wall because I now realize in my spirit that this woman doesn't want anything from me, one, but to befriend me, and two, to support me, and three, to elevate me. Elevate me. Latarsha came to elevate Shalon, right? And in so many ways, Shalon came to ground Latarsha, right? Because Latarsha could be all up here sometimes too, like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do that. And Shalon's like, wait now, hold on. let's take this thing one step at a time. And so there was a true purpose for the partnership. And you'll hear Erica and I talk about that a lot. Purpose for partnership. You all were truly purposed for the partnership that God has. So Shalon, even tell us about you all coming together now, and you all have a conference that you're putting together. And it stems off of a conference that Latarsha had been doing for several years. And now you all have decided to join forces and bring this conference to the local area, right? To Florida. I keep saying the local area, but not all of us are in Florida. Erica, hint, hint. So tell us about this conference and what the women can expect from this conference that you all are putting on together in November of 2022.
Actually, you know what, I've never done a conference. So it was pretty much something that she had already done that she wanted to do here. So I am going to let her share the vision of it because she knows more about the conference. I've only went to conferences. I've never actually done a conference, but I'm very, very excited about it. And I think it's something that I probably always wanted to do, but probably just didn't know how to do it or how to put it together. And so I'm going to let her share because she's so excited. She's been calling me the last couple of days, so she's so excited.
Okay, Latarsha, tell us about the conference.
So we'll have a couple of speakers to empower. We have the breakout sessions because when people walk away, we want them to walk away with understanding that no matter what you've been through in life, you can arrive it. This does not set you back. This does not determine your future. And a lot of times women who appear to have it all together, they're the main ones that need to be empowered because they are so used to, and it's easier to want to fix other people. It's easier to want to help other people because it takes a lot of energy to help yourself. Like right now, I need to clean my room, right? But I have no energy. But if my girlfriend calls me and say, come over here and help me, I'll go over there and organize everything she need me to organize, dust from top to bottom. But I just don't have the energy to go in my room and do the things I need to. So that's what I'm just saying. Like people that are really strong, I just want God to be able to let some people have some breakthroughs. So the speakers that we're going to have coming in, it's going to be about what do you need to release? What baggage do you need to release? And all of us carry so much baggage. We carry baggage in relationships. We carry baggage in marriages, relationships with, it could be a banker, it can be a coworker, whoever that relationship that you have. We bring so much baggage that we need to release it so that we can have healthy relationships and that we can be healthy for ourselves and not have to bleed over everybody around us. So I just want to see some breakthroughs. We have a powerful keynote speaker, and I'll let Shalon share that.
Don't tell the speaker now. You
Don't tell a speaker.
don't
Okay.
tell who it is, but I will say, y'all,
I didn't know what we were doing. I did not know what we did. I honestly didn't. I'm like, I didn't know what we did. I didn't know what we did, honestly, with the speaker. Like, I didn't know where we were going. But anyway, so the conference is releasing your baggage. And so I think what we really ultimately want to do, because sometimes I always say, how you do anything is how you do everything. And sometimes we all can hear you have a choice, but you don't have a choice until you have a choice. So I think it's more of introducing certain things, certain issues that people probably don't even think about, think that they have an issue with or they have a problem. So I think it's just really opening up different scenarios of different things that can happen, different traumas that can cause you to do certain things and you don't know why you're doing them. So I'm thinking opening the door for someone to be able to say, well, that's my issue, or that happened to me, or that is basically what the overall conference is going to be about. And then another thing that's happening in the conference, Latarsha is pressuring me to, and I'm so grateful for that because it's there. And if she didn't push me to do it, I probably would always stand in the background. And so I'm up for the challenge. And so I'm very excited about that. So I think it's an opportunity for both of us to really put our voice out where it needs to be, finally. So
Let me tell you something. So, Shalon is a powerful speaker. She's a transparent speaker, just like Latarsha. Both of these women are phenoms in and of themselves, right? They share their story from such a place of transparency, such a place of transformation and hope to get people in general, but specifically women, to the place of saying, it's time for me to do life differently. From Latarsha with breaking the silence and healing the pain as her individual business and program and services that she offers, to Shalon with Shalon's Hope, and also with being a reinvention coach and how she's helping so women reinvent themselves when they felt like their life was never going to be different. Now to take those two things together and really be able to bring this conference, which is going to be November
here,
the 19th in Tampa, Florida. Okay, so if you're not in Tampa, start getting your ticket so you can come to Tampa for the November 19th. It's a day-long conference with some powerful speakers. The keynote speaker, when they announce this, y'all are going to be like, what? God, nothing but God would do this to allow this speaker to instantly say yes. It like instantly say yes. And so just to know that God is able to take what you all have done individually and bring it together in this collective format of this conference. And this is just the beginning of the work that he wants to do through the two of you all. And I know Erica, she's chomping at the bit to say some things too, because she began to see even in the spirit for the two of you also just some things that God is wanting to do. And we won't share all of that stuff with you all here. You got to follow these ladies to know what that's going to be about. But Eric, I want you to jump in and just kind of, speak some life into Latarsha and Shalon and the work that God is going to be doing and releasing through them beyond the conference, beyond this releasing the baggage and reclaiming your power conference, and just all the dynamic things that he wants to do through this purposed partnership that he has created for you all. So Erica, take it over.
I'm like fighting back tears. I mean, I got chills all over my arms because it's just, first of all, it's an honor. It is truly an honor to partner with you ladies to bring this vision to pass. And even before, when Stephanie told me you guys were going to reach out to this speaker, I just knew it was going to work out because the two of you have submitted to allowing God to work through you to be able to help these women be able to just get a new leaf on life, to be restored, to be transformed. One of my friends, she said a guy had given her a vision of these two flames coming together. And when the flames met, it was this big explosion. And that's how I see the two of you. It's like you're these two individual flames, and alone you can do a whole lot. But there's a sonic boom that occurs when you two come together. So this conference, it is just the beginning. It's just the beginning because there's so much that is going to be birthed just out of this moment, even in your individual lives, in your family lives. I mean, Shalon, you stepping up and saying, hey, I'm a own, I'm going to own all of who God says that I am as a speaker, as a businesswoman, in all aspects. God is going to bless that, and platforms are where you're going to stand. So just like you guys reached out to a dynamic speaker to bring her into your conference, that's how you all are going to be sought out. You're going to be a face of purpose partnerships and how powerful it is to come together. There are so many people that are going to hear this message and they're going to be thinking like, well, God, who is my purpose partner? Where they never thought about partnerships before. They never thought about having friendships over the age of 40. But There is so much power when we allow God to partner us, to bring us into community. Even between Stephanie and I, we never thought we would be making the impact that we're able to make. We never thought that we meet women like yourselves and be able to support you and be able to encourage you and allow God to just do miraculous things. So for us, it's like I'm emotional because I can see beyond what we're seeing right now. And I'm emotional because I know the impact that it's going to make and how it's going to be a domino effect, not just for your lives, but the people who are connected to you as well. So I just want to bless you ladies and encourage you to keep going no matter what, because God's hand and his favor is upon both of you.
Can I share this also too with the conference? What I really, really like about the conference is I think that we're both authentic. We both wanted to do it not for because I didn't even know what we got into, but I mean, I didn't know what we got into. And so I was thinking that we were going to do the conference. And of course, we wanted to make, but that was our ultimate goal is to make impact within our community and really help women get to a point of knowing if they need to heal and how to start that process. And so that's why I think the conference is going to be so good because we're not going into it trying to get this big name or anything like that because I didn't know. And so it's just being ourselves and what we really wanted to do. And I think that's why it's going to be blessed even the more because we're not trying to, you know, do it on this big platform to just put our name out. We really, truly want to do it to help women. So, and men actually. So I'm very excited and happy to really partner with her on this. And I cannot imagine where we're going to go after this. And I'm just excited to do this with her. So Latarsha, I thank you and I love you. And so I'm excited.
I thank you and I love you too.
Look, y'all gonna have us over here crying, and it takes a lot to do makeup and do all these extra things. But I am just so proud of the two of you as individuals, as women of God, just the work that you all have done individually in yourselves to heal. Because just like Erica and I talk about in part 3 of episode 1 about fractures, right? Fractures in your relationship. Fractures in your relationship come from fractures in your own soul. So you all were able to work through the fractures, the broken places in your own individual souls, the things that you all have walked through and experienced, the traumas, the hurts, the frustrations, and all the things that could have potentially kept you on the floor. You all were individually able to rise above those things to be the women that you are today. And because you were submitted to God and being the women that God wanted you to be, he brought you together. And so it was definitely not a coincidence because we don't believe in coincidences. We believe in God instances, right? Where God says, this is the instance where I want to bring the two of you together to make an impact. And so we cannot wait for the conference, November 19th. Tampa, Florida. We want to make sure that you are following these ladies, Shalon Barnett and Latarsha Haughton, on social media. They're everywhere. They're everywhere on social media. You can find them, so be sure to be following them. This Facebook group is Breaking the Silence, Healing the Pain. We want to make sure that you are following her there as well. I want you both to give your individual information because we know that you are now in the process of solidifying your business partnership. So we're bringing together some things, but for now, share your individual contact information, how people can find you and follow you so that when the conference comes November the 19th, they'll be ready to register. So Latarsha, go ahead.
They can reach me at Haughton's Love. That's Haughton, Haughton's Love, on Instagram. And I also have an Instagram page, BTS_Healing the Pain. And I can also be reached at www.latarshahaughton.com.
Excellent. And before we switch over to Shalon, Latarsha is a wonderful and awesome best-selling author of the book Breaking the Silence, which is out now. You can purchase it. Any online retailer has it. Amazon, Target, Walmart.com. They're everywhere, right? And so go out and read, purchase Breaking the Silence, this powerful true story of Latarsha Haughton and the years of trauma that she endured and why God had to put her in this place of experiencing those things so that she could break her silence to help others through the process of healing their pain. So, Breaking the Silence, Latarsha Haughton, get your copies today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Latarsha.
Thank you.
Shalon.
And I wanna give thanks to Cocoon to Wings for helping me to birth that. And I just want to thank you so much for working with me and helping me to get everything that I needed to get out. It helped me to heal as well as getting it out to help other people to heal as well.
Oh, well, we thank you. And for those of you who don't know, Cocoon to Wings Publishing is my publishing company, of which Erica works with me in that business as well. So while we do have Pure Solutions and Consulting as our legal partnership, Erica has been working with me for years, supporting me as the chief of design for Cocoon to Wings Publishing. So this is a dual effort on every side. So we were honored to help support you with bringing that book to life. Thank you, Latarsha.
Thank you.
Shalon, how can the people find you?
I am on Instagram and Facebook, and it's Shalon Barnett, which is ShalonBarnett. And then my website is shalonbarnett.com.
And Shalon is also an author. She's a co-author in the anthology Dear Fear. So she had to speak to her fear, right? And speak to all those fears that were trying to come up against her and combat the faith that she has in God. But she spoke to those fears in Dear Fear. So you want to go out and get that book, and they can get your book on your website, right? ShalonBarnett.com.
Yes.
Yes. So visit ShalonBarnett.com to get your copies of Dear Fear and follow Shalon along her path of reinvention. As I mentioned, she's a reinvention coach. She has her reinvention coaching program. Latarsha has her coaching program that you're going to be hearing about soon as well, the 12 Steps to Self-Love. I'm telling you, these women are doing their thing. They're doing their thing, right, Erica? They are doing their thing. And so we're so proud of you, ladies. We thank you. We honor you for taking this time out of your, what we know, are tremendously busy and productive days, right? To spend some time with us at the table with Pure. And I'm going to let Erica close us out. And just, again, I say thank you. I honor you. And we appreciate you for being with us today. So, Erica, take us away.
Absolutely. We just want to thank you again. It has been truly our pleasure. Just even hearing parts of your story again is just encouraging. And I just know that it's going to bear much, much fruit. So we just want to thank everybody for listening and tuning in. This has been At the Table with Pure. I'm your host, Erica Thomas and Stephanie Houghton. And we just want to thank you. And we look forward to speaking with you next time, where we're going to do some more amazing interviews with some amazing purpose partners. So if you're looking for your purpose partner, make sure you hear God and walk it out.